It is a very good morning to you and welcome once again to the thrill of the chase. And if you're joining us for the first time, it is greyhound racing like you have never ever seen it before. We are still trying to all make sense of what went down as we build up towards the Melbourne Cup, but what we do know is that some of the big names made a statement in their heats on Friday night. Jack Heverin joined at the desk once again by Liz Whelan. Liz, welcome back, and I think you've brought a little friend with you this morning, haven't you?
It's good to be back, and yes, I have brought a little friend along with me. The TAB Melbourne Cup here on the desk. Wouldn't it be nice to win one? Someone will be taking that home on Friday night.
Looks very, very expensive. Look at it, just shining in the lights of our studio this morning as well. James Vandermark, who called everything at the track on Friday. James, again, welcome back. And I mentioned that it was a big night for some of the big names.
It really was. It was a great thrill to be a part of the night of racing. And this is dangerous having the Melbourne Cup sitting this close to me because I've always wanted to win one and it's probably easier just to take one. Look, great to be back on the show. The draft was fantastic last week and, of course, it went really well. I just thought they might have changed the locks on me, but as it turned out, I got through the gates and here I am back on set.
Oh, just on that trophy, I've been told under strict instruction that no one is to touch that trophy without the white gloves. So unless you've got them, keep your paws off them.
I'm surprised they put me this close to them. It's risky, I'll be honest, but it's a beautiful piece. It really is. And to be honest, this is what greyhound racing is all about. The trainers, the owners, the breeders, they all want to win this.
Well, speaking of that, the Melbourne Cup draw is coming up very shortly. We're going to break down all of the boxes. We've got a whole lot to still come on the show as well, including a wonderful feature piece with the Keisha family, a young family who are making their way in the sport of greyhound racing and are doing a very, very good job of it as well. Let's start, though, with the agenda. And it would make sense for the agenda to be the TAB Melbourne Cup and everything that we saw at Sandown Park. It was a fantastic night overall, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And James, I imagine for you as well, this week's extra special because it's the first time that you're going to be calling the Melbourne Cup on Friday.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to call the heats last year, but to call the heats and now the big dance on Friday, it's just the complete package. It's a dream come true for me. And hooked on Scotch to break the track record the way he did from box number 8. I mean, 28.939. It was down the back straight. I thought, by gee, this greyhound's absolutely flying. Have a look at the way he began. Box 8, once he was able to cross the 7 curtly in the run to the first corner, I thought this is a track record run. I know he only broke it by 1/100th of a second, but you could just tell he was doing something special. And to look at the list of the recent track record holders, unlawful entry, Beckham Bale, Cape Hawk, Heston Bale, they've all had successful stud careers. So this is a huge stamp Hooked on Scotch has put on the game.
I think one of the amazing things about this dog as well, he's not even 2 years old. He doesn't turn 2 until the 20th of December. He's had 15 starts and he's already won $205,000. It's pretty incredible what this dog has already done.
So there's those track records that you were talking about, James.
It's incredible, 28.939. It's just to break 29, and I was actually lucky enough to call Beckham Bale when he broke the track record. So there's something about Sandown Park, my commentary, that makes him go a little bit faster. I feel anyway.
Your commentary, isn't it?
Well, I called Bobby Boucher, who broke the 5.95 track record about 7 years ago. So I don't know what it is, but the trainers need to be slinging me something.
Oh, we've missed you, James. We've missed you. Jason Thompson was a very, very happy man after the race, and he caught up with Jason Adams.
The time being narrowed down, 28.54. Jason Thompson, new track record. Is it a surprise?
No.
And that's all we have for you this morning. Is it a surprise? No.
No. Look, Jace was pretty public a few weeks ago after the Speed Star saying he thinks this dog will one day break the track record. I did hear as well murmurs that they believe he can go faster. And look, Liz, he's, as you say, not even 2, so there's a big chance he will get faster, which is scary.
It is scary, and I do wonder with a clear run just what he can do on Friday night as well, because I think in that post-race interview, Jason Thompson was saying, you know, he's capable of having a quicker first section. He went 5.11 to the first mark. If he jumps even faster, what can he do?
The question begs. Get It Gizmo was very, very good on Friday night as well. Heat 3, this was a run that really grabbed our attention in a very impressive performance out of box 4.
He just surged coming off the back straight. Switchery's got 600 metre form the red, but as we see Get It Gizmo, the Top Gun champ, he was just a class above Liz.
He's a really, really good dog. I think he's been underrated for a wee while. He finished 3rd in the $1 Million Chase, and prior to that he was the quickest to the semi-final winners. He's usually quite a clean beginner. That's one of the things that I do like about him. In terms of box draw, where would you like to see him?
I think he probably needs to draw in, but he needs to draw in and get a bit of luck pushing up the track in the run to the first corner if he's going to be victorious, but by gee, he's strong.
Our box draw is coming up very shortly, so it'll all start to make a little bit of sense. We're celebrating the big wins this morning, but as the way that this format is working, there are some big names as well who won't be there, and you just look at that board and some of those names on, and it seems almost unimaginable that we'll have the Melbourne Cup final without Feral Frankie.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a murmur going around that just maybe there might be an unbelievable match race between some of those greyhounds that have missed out on Melbourne Cup night, and if that's the case, it'll be amazing. Who told Stevie? Simon told Helen, a few of the young kids on the block who missed out. Right now, if I had to buy 2 greyhounds and I had unlimited money, which I don't, I'd be buying Who Told Stevie and Simon Told Helen. I think they're the 2 superstars of the future, as well as obviously Hooked on Scotch.
I believe that early on, one of those dogs, they received an offer for 6 figures and it was tuned down, so you're going to have pretty deep pockets here,
And
James.
there was plenty of 6-figure offers, I believe, around as well.
Ooh, so it's crazy. We'll keep you up to date with that one. A match race would be fantastic, I think, but nothing confirmed as we go to air this morning, is there?
Yeah, no, look, it's obviously all pretty new. It only happened Friday night, the racing, but fingers crossed. I mean, if we could see a Feral Frankie, the People's Dog, take on a Shimmer Shine or a Seneca or maybe even a Simon Told Helen who then told Stevie, I don't know, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I think I still follow along with everything you just said there. We'll talk more about all of the Melbourne Cup runners a little bit later on the show, but let's move on to the Bold Treese. And again, one of the most popular dogs in greyhound racing is Tornado Tears and just continues to do fantastic things.
Yeah, well, Liz, he's probably a greyhound now with a jockey on board that the punters aren't really liking. He's just switching in and out, and look at that, he just gets the bob. I know you were keen on Mrs. M. Ground, and that is the hardest, look at that, the hardest luck story for the greyhound on the inside you'll ever see.
That was tough. She had a really luckless run as well, Mrs. M. Ground. She was flying there late. Tornado Tears, yes, he was the favourite. I have no doubt he'll be one of the favourites for the final on Friday, but it's very, very tough to back him with any confidence at the moment because, as you say, he doesn't know whether to go in, he doesn't know whether to go out. He's just a little bit tentative with how he's been racing lately.
Yeah, he's like a horse with a jockey that's just consistently held up. But Mrs. M. Grand, talking of her, I mean, she's been beaten 7/100ths of a second. She doesn't qualify for the final. Connections have come all of the way down from Sydney to race her. It would be a long 10-hour journey home.
Another that we want to discuss this morning is Blue Moon Rising, Liz. In particular, this was one that really caught your attention from the Bold Treese and out of box number 3.
I'm a huge fan of this greyhound. I'd love to see him jumping this well again on Friday night. He did that when he was in a heat of the Sydney Cup. He was explosive on that occasion. That's probably going to be the key for him. Yes, he's a strong dog. If he misses away, you know, that's not the end of the world for him. But I'd love to see him out of front, and then it's going to be catch me if you can.
We'll keep you up to date with that one. We turn our attention now to the plasma. With the greyhound draft last week, we had no plasma. The ANALYSER is up and we're giving the people what they want, James.
Well, here we are. It's Melbourne Cup time. I feel this could be the best edition of the ANALYSER yet. Let's take a look at the heats of the TAB Melbourne Cup on Friday night at Sandown Park. We first start with Hooked on Scotch, jumping from box number 8. Now, clearly he wants to use a bit of the track. Have a look how wide he is. He actually disappears off the screen for a stride or two. Moving along now to Flynn, who jumped from box number 1. We'll roll the tape here and see what he does. Running to the first corner, he's wanting to shift up the track a shade. Another greyhound that needs a bit of room to move. We move along, Get It Gizmo, box number 4. Check this out. Jumps straight to the outside, but he gets the room to move, and that's the key. And those 3 are all desperately keen to get to the outside. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, let's take a look at Campini. 5, the yellow, the pride of West Australia, crashes into the 4, charges across to the inside. Now, what I make of this, the box draw is so very important in the Melbourne Cup. 3 key wide runners, Jack Campini, who's mad for the rail. The box draw is everything.
So, with that in mind, and we've got the box draw coming up in about 20 minutes from now. Based on what you've just showed us, is there a specific box in particular that all of our trainers will be hoping to draw?
I think they can all deal with an inside draw, given they get that cover runner who does like to push wide on their outside. But I think what I'm seeing here, for example, if Campini was to draw 3, go to the rail, say a Hooked on Scotch in 5, Flynn drawn 6, I'd look for the greyhound in box number 4, who's going to get that clear run, and they're going to part ways around.
I know that we're meant to be inspiring betting, but I would be a little bit nervous about betting before the box draw because Hooked on Scotch is short, and then if the likes of Campini draws the 1, then comes right into it.
I think you're exactly right. I'd be definitely waiting until the box draw, and at about 11:15 when we know the draw, jump on and have a play.
Well, we've got both for you coming up very shortly. We've got the pre-box draw odds with Trent Langscale from TAB, and then we'll have, after the box draw, we'll have all of the odds as well. Well done, James. Liz, what did you think? He said it was going to be his best edition yet.
Fresh up off a break, I thought you did a very good job.
Good from a spell.
Well done. Well done to you. Let's get over to WA next and have a look at one of the feature races from the week as well. This was the Young Stars Classic, and this was Danica keeping out of box 8.
Really good performance here by this greyhound. She's jumped straight to the lead off box 8. He's been too good. I was in touch with the trainer, Shane Williams yesterday, and he tells me that he's going to come over and have a crack at the Laurels at Sandown with her. So that's mid-December. He's thinking of flying her over a bit early to Rob Britton's and trialling her first as well.
I was a bit slow getting back on set here, wasn't I? I am back. Danica keeping though, Shane Williams, I think it was his first group win as well, and of course he was a lure driver before taking up the collar and lead. So well done to Shane, well done to all. It was a terrific win.
Let's go into Behind the Boxes. Up next, we take a look at perhaps some of the other stuff that's gone on from across the week and perhaps some of the lighter side as well. And Liz, you're up first today.
I am up first, but this does involve James sitting next to me. And so some of you might remember a couple of weeks ago that James picked a winner. He tipped us a trifecta, and I was there on track at Sandown to witness this. I got the phone up. He was quite excited until James, we took a look at the dividends after the race, because James's suggested bet, I believe, was a 3-dog box trifecta, $9, you're getting 1.5 times, and I think
we won $1.50, Liz.
However,
$1.50?
No, look, if you took the exotic in Queensland, you would have won about $3. But hey, anything's a profit, and I'm proud of my tipping.
Queensland punters who followed James.
We've got our best bets coming up a little bit later. I think if James is winning us $1.50, don't resign from work. You're going to need to go to work tomorrow if he's on that form. James, Behind the Boxes?
Yeah, my Behind the Boxes is a bit of an intriguing runner. It was a greyhound that won at Ballarat on Wednesday night by the name of Missy Bale. Now, look at the way this greyhound accelerates. I thought it was just a perfect segue leading into the Melbourne Cup, because this greyhound is a litter sister to Jarrow Baylor, who competes in the Melbourne Cup, and her dad is Dinah Villa, who won a Melbourne Cup. She's obviously had her issues. That was only her third career start. She went 25.085 at Ballarat, which is absolutely flying. They can keep her sound, keep her racing well. She's one for the future.
Nicely done, you two. That's our Behind the Boxes. You can join us, of course, right across the morning. You can get involved on Twitter at Thrill Chase Show is how you can join us. We've still got heaps to come. The legend that is Jezelenko will be in the studio. We've got the Melbourne Cup box draw still to come also, and a couple of wonderful feature stories. But as we head to the break, I think the boys from WA can send us off to the break.
And on a Sunday morning, you know what you can do as well?
Get up and watch a little bit of Seven, mate!
Thrill of the Chase, 10 o'clock. It's on again this Sunday. I've got Jezelenko in the studio and a whole bunch more. So make sure you check that one out Sunday morning.
A canine version of Jezza as well. Otherwise, they would just get the great man to take a few hangers there.
Welcome back. You're with the Thrill of the Chase. Greyhound racing like you have never seen it before. We've got the Melbourne Cup box draw coming up very shortly. And I know we're very, very excited because the legend Jezelenko will be in the studio with us very soon. In fact, I think we've got 2 dogs in the studio with us this morning, which may make for chaos, because last time we had 1 dog. We allowed the dog to just roam around. What do we think 2 will do?
I have met the dogs this morning, and I think it could be interesting because the younger dog is still a little bit of a puppy and he gets a little bit excited.
It could be good fun. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? But what we do know is we're starting to make sense of the Melbourne Cup. And after Friday night at Sandown Park, it is all starting to make a little bit of sense. So let's highlight some of the big winners and some of the big names who made their statements from Friday night. And we start with Flynn. And who better else to start with, because Flynn was super impressive.
He really was, Liz. He just controlled the race. After he got that little bump, he sort of shoved them out of the way, and then his sectional run home is just so powerful that if he lands anywhere near the lead, he's going to be so very hard to get past.
I think he's a really good chance. He's one of the likely leaders, I think, on Friday night. He's got quite a quick first section. I think we also need to remember this is a dog who went 29.08 here back in May when he won the Speedster. He's capable of exceptionally fast times, and if he does land near the lead there, I think he is going to be right in this.
We'll talk about Campini next. We have touched on Hooked on Scotch as well and Get It Gizmo for those who are following along. We've given them a little bit of love this morning, but time to give Campini some love. Qualifying time of 29.26.
This greyhound's been very unlucky in a few races. He's drawn badly. He's so keen for the rail, but we all know the ability of the promising Shimmer Shine, and Campini going down the back just gave Shimmer Shine windburn. It was so impressive, and then stormed up the home straight. It was just a wonderful win.
Really good performance. Look, I thought that Shimmer Shine was one of the biggest uncertainties on Friday night, to be honest. But Campini's been strong. Getting the rail is the key for him. He's a greyhound who's actually won over 600 metres at Cannington, so he certainly won't be lying down late.
The West Australians, they'll be going absolutely bananas, our friends in WA. I actually thought about Pete O'Neill. He is the most patriotic race caller of all time. He'll be tuning in and he will be going all for Campini.
My word, he will be. And WA will be right behind that dog. Whiskey Riot was in the first heat, so we got an early look in what was a really star-studded field first up, and Whiskey Riot come out on top.
He did. He was doing exactly what we expected he would do. I called him in the call, or just after the call, the punter's pal that night, because he was so well spec'd, so well found. Simon told Helen, though, that was a super run out in front. If it wasn't Whiskey Riot chasing, he might have made a Melbourne Cup.
Exactly. This is hit to give everything here, Whiskey Riot. If he's drawn down close to the rail, again, another one I think who could potentially be a winning chance. He's capable of some explosive first sections. If he pulls that out of the box on Friday, could be right in this. In his last 13 starts, he's only finished out of the top 3 once. He's amassing a fantastic strike rate lately.
He almost held on to the shootout. If it wasn't hooked on Scotch right behind, he wins the shootout.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? We were talking about this morning as well, that there's some hard luck stories, and we mentioned some of the big names who aren't in the Melbourne Cup. Should there be more heats, do we think, or is there another way or another opportunity? We mentioned a match race or something. Is there a lucky loser system or something to be considered?
It is tough. It's very cutthroat in the sense that if you do happen to get unlucky, and Seneca's probably the prime example. I mean, if he draws inside underneath of Flynn, he probably would have won his heat, but it wasn't to be. He got caught out wide. And Liz, you were saying off air in New Zealand, they do a completely different system.
They do. Look, to be honest, I prefer the system here for the Melbourne Cup to the New Zealand one. So for the New Zealand Cup, you've got 3 rounds, you've got heats, you've got semi-finals, then the final in Christchurch. The big issue with that is sometimes, you end up with 6 dogs from the heats getting through to the semis. Trainers travelling far and wide have to do 3 trips. So I think that's the other thing that has to come into consideration when you're thinking of potentially new systems, is the trainer, is the travel for the dogs as well, and how they're having to back up.
Yeah, and quickly, just looking at that field, I think GRV would be thrilled with the heat and final because it's turned out.
Absolutely it has. Maybe the New Zealand philosophy is something we should adopt. I mean, if anything's good from New Zealand, we generally steal it anyway in Australia, so why not just steal that one?
It's good to be here.
And good morning to Russell Crowe and Neil Finn, who join us as well. To Oakvale Beauty from the Melbourne Cup as well for Jeff Britton. Qualifying time of 29.40 and coming out of box number 1.
Yeah, this is an interesting greyhound, Oakvale Beauty. Once she lobbed behind the speed, I think it was Emerald Rainbow who led out, and she punched her on the inside. I mean, she was very powerful, and Good Odds Harada, we all know the $1 Million Chase champ, how good he is, Liz, but it was just a very dominant win.
And she's going to be the only bitch lining up in the race on Friday, the only female greyhound to win since 2006, who's got a moment back in 2012. I'd want to see her drawing the inside. It's kind of funny when you look at these times, because you're going 29.41, and ordinarily you'd be going, that's really quick, but I guess it's just compared to the other heat winners, we're going, is she necessarily going to be up to it?
Your comment there about the girls necessarily not going as well in the sprint, I just had a look at the track record holders over the 5.15, and they're all boys, but interestingly enough, I feel some of the best stayers have been the girls. I don't know what that is, why, but it does seem to be the case. 2
more runs that we want to have a look at from the Melbourne Cup heats on Friday night. Jarrow Bale running in heat number 2 for Andrea Daly. 29.49 coming out of box number 1 as well.
Little brother to my behind the box greyhound in Missy Bale. This greyhound was impressive, showed a really good turn of foot going down the back.
Did a really good job. I think my biggest concern with this greyhound is the fact that he doesn't have that early pace. He's going to be relying on a wee bit of luck. He is strong if he gets a clear passage through, but I'll be sort of holding my breath going into that first bend.
And lastly, Western Envoy from heat number 8 later on in the night at Sandown Park. Box number 5, so there's no real trend developing here, but again, that time of 29.58 ordinarily would look like a decent time.
That's the thing, and it's so hard, 29.58 ordinarily I think is a very quick time. This dog was a wee bit slow away, did manage to get through the first bend cleanly though, then really got into his work. He is capable of a quick beginning. I think he'll probably need to pull that out.
He'll need the right draw, and by this time it was race 12 of the night. I was absolutely spent as the race caller, I tell you. After 11 Group 1 heats, I got to Western Envoy. The voice was cracking. There was no petrol left in the tank, but it was a smart win, and he is a greyhound that will improve on the clock.
I think there might be a bit of love. We've got the box draw coming up very, very shortly. I'll tell you what we are excited about, though. Jezzelenko in the studio in just a few moments, and I mentioned the box draw for the Melbourne Cup, the all-important box draw. We find out who is landing where, and we've got all of the odds for that big race still to come here on the Thrill of the Chase. the thrill of the chase, and we have got the box draw for the Melbourne Cup coming up very, very shortly. Plus, Jezelenko will be here with us in Molly's Lounge in the studio very, very soon. But speaking of the Melbourne Cup box draw, we haven't had it as yet, but we thought it was a good chance to bring in our old mate Trent Langscale from the TAB to give us a bit of an indication for what the early markets are looking like before the box draw. So, Trent, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Jack. Fantastic to be here and was tremendous on Friday night at Sandown Park. Didn't expect a track record to be broken, but that's the thrill of being out there.
So you've set up the draw for us, you've set up the market for us. Take us through it and how it's all looking.
Well, at the present moment, we have Hooked on Scotch, who is the favourite at $1.80. Then you have Whiskey Right and Flynn. They are both at $6. Shimmer Shine is the first reserve at $7, along with Get a Gizmo, the winner of the TAB at Top Gun. And you've got Campini there at the $12 mark, and the others getting out a bit further. I can say, Jack, that when we opened the all-in market for the TAB Melbourne Cup last Tuesday, we did have Hooked on Scotch at $12, and there were some punters that took advantage of that. And even Campini went up at 71, and there are a couple of punters that had 100 each way. They're looking forward to this upcoming box draw.
Hooked on Scotch is short, Liz.
I can't believe it opened at $12. I missed the boat there. You should be texting me and telling me these things.
Well, I'd be texting everyone, Liz. I can't just announce to everyone what their prices are, but there was 400 at 12. There was also 1,500 at 9 and also 1,000 at 7. So those punters were pretty happy to see the track record being broken.
Now we await for the box draw. Thank you, Trent. We'll come back to you very, very shortly. But let's get out to Box Draw HQ. This is big. This is going to have an enormous say in the Melbourne Cup. James is out there with Molly Haynes. Good morning.
Good morning, Jack. Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to Box Draw HQ. Now we've got the 2019 TAB Melbourne Cup box draw. We've got some very excited, I'd say nervous connections waiting alongside us. But how do you think everyone will be feeling?
Well, they'd be feeling nervous, excited as well. I think, as I said with the ANALYSER, I think the box draw really is everything in this Melbourne Cup. I thought the Top Gun draw was big. This is even bigger. It's the TAB Melbourne Cup. It is the chance to change a life. $430,000 to the winner. The prestigious trophy. This is the pinnacle of our great sport.
It sure is. And look, we've got Chief Steward Paul Searle over here to my right. Now, Paul, we don't have the banjo. The banjo's missing in action this time.
It is. We've gone with the red barrel this time.
Now, the red barrel, how this process is going to work, Paul is going to spin the barrel. He's going to pick a greyhound's name out of the barrel, and then we will call a connection over. They'll pick up a little replica Melbourne Cup trophy, and everyone will see the box draw. So exciting times.
And this format has been cleared by the GRV board as an approved way of doing the box draw. Not only are we missing the banjo, we're missing the Deputy Chair, Braden Jinks, who couldn't be with us today.
That we are.
Okay, so Paul Searle, Chief Steward of GRV, has spun the red barrel, and he's come up with the first runner in the Melbourne Cup.
Whiskey Riot.
Whiskey Right. Anthony, as a party, we'll welcome you up to pick your box draw. Now, Mick Floyd from Sandown was stoked with his greyhound before the heat, and we've come up with box number 3.
Box number 3, just quickly, you'd be happy with that close to the inside?
That'll be my third choice.
1, 2, 3?
Yep, that's it, mate. Happy he's near the fence now, so just depends what draws around him now.
Yeah, well, good luck, Anthony. Box number 3, Whiskey Right. Molly, what do you think? I think he's drawn nicely. He won the heat from box number 2.
Look, I do as well, and I think Mick Floyd, like he'd mentioned, he was stoked with his greyhound beforehand. I don't think he's going to be too upset with box 3. We've got another greyhound here.
Oakvale Beauty.
Oakvale Beauty.
Okay, and we've got Jeff Britton.
We'll welcome Jeff Britton to pick his box.
Well, they're just going for the ones that are close to them at the moment, and
Box
you've drawn
number
box
7.
number 7 just quickly. She can win from out wide.
Oh, look, it's going to struggle now, so we're just happy to be there, I think.
Yeah, well, good luck, mate. Drawn box number 7 with Oakvale Beauty. Rolling along now, Molly, the third greyhound in the TAB Melbourne Cup.
Yes, $435,000 to the winner in this TAB Melbourne Cup.
He's Hooked on Scotch.
Hooked on Scotch, track record holder now. We've got owner and breeder Darren Pulio.
There's a lot on this. I know he wants box number 8, Darren.
I can feel Shona and Jason looking at him now.
Oh, goodness. Oh, good. Look at him.
We almost need a pan view of everyone now.
What are the thoughts?
I just want to do a somersault.
Have a go. Good luck, mate. Box number 8. It's going to be a cracker. Hooked on Scotch. Well, there we go.
Now
Darren almost doing a somersault for us.
That's going to make things very hard, but we've got another runner being picked from our red barrel. Paul, who do we have?
It's Flynn.
Flynn.
So the kennel mate to Hooked on Scotch, and we've got the Thompson family, Sophie, Holly and Shona. And we've gone with box number 4. Thoughts on 4 for Flynn? He looked like he wanted to get to the middle.
Yeah, look, 4's okay. I didn't really want 6, so 4's better than 6.
Well, good luck. Drawn box number 4 with Flynn. Along we go, Molly.
Yes, we do. Gosh, he went well in the heats last week, and he is just
so powerful too.
Absolutely, he's one athlete that we cannot ignore. We have Get It Gizmo. We've got Aideen Manalitsis here coming to pick the box.
And
box number 2.
Box number 2. It looks like another happy connection.
I can go home now.
Not just yet. We're going to get you on the thrill of the chase shortly. But good luck. Box number 2 for the Top Gun champion. And how was his turn of foot down the back straight on Friday night? He was just so impressive to watch.
Oh, that he was. You know, a couple of people had doubts whether he warranted a Top Gun victory, but he's a dog that can run, no doubt. We have Jarrow Bale.
Jarrow Bale for Team Daly. And it's box number 6 or box number 9, depending which way you look at it.
Yeah, doesn't make much difference, really.
Good luck there. The Daily Camp, Jarrow Bale, box number 6.
Who do we have now, Paul, out of our red barrel?
Western Envoy.
Western Envoy for Angela Langton. We also have Nicholas Britton coming up to pick the box. You got 2 to choose from.
What are the options? We've got 1 or 5. It's a huge draw here. Oh no, he's gone with box number 5. Thoughts on box number 5, team?
Oh, we had it last week. We've had it a few times, so he knows what to do out of 5. So he's just got to jump.
You proud of him making the final?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess. Good luck, mate. Box number 5, Western Envoy. He won his heat from 5, Molly, so he's no stranger to that awkward draw.
Absolutely, and look, like you mentioned, you'd lost all energy coming into the last Melbourne Cup heat, but I'd say there'll be plenty heading into the Melbourne Cup.
Well, Maddie Toner up now. Hold one sec, Maddie. Just have to ask you a quick question. Off air, you said if you draw the 1, you're going to ask the boss, Glenn Rounds, the trainer, for a pay rise. What's going to happen here?
Oh, hopefully I get the red.
Have a look. Maddie Toner, on behalf of Glenn Rounds and the whole of West Australia, box number 1, you've done the job well.
Yeah, very, very happy with that box.
What was the go? You just wanted to draw the red, the only trap you wanted?
Oh, 1, 2 or 3 would have been fine. Yeah, happy with anything on the inside.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Drawn the inside, Campini. Well, let's take a look at the draw, Molly, because Campini's come up with 1, Hooked on Scotch, box number 8, Whiskey Riot 3, and Get It Gizmo 2. A few of these have drawn where they wanted.
Absolutely, and look, like Liz mentioned during the show, if Campini did draw box 1, it was going to give this greyhound a very good chance. And look, I don't know about you, I think I can hear WA cheering from here.
Yeah, well, who do we want to have a chat to here? I reckon we get Darren Pulio back up. I want to see him do a somersault firstly.
Yeah, the pressure's on. What can you do, Darren?
Mate, how quick can he go? It was an unbelievable run. Just explain the thrill of watching your greyhound you bred, you reared him, come out and do what he did on Friday night.
Oh, look, massive thrill. Yeah, to get into a Melbourne Cup obviously is a big thrill. We had a dog in it last year, and to go into it again this year with a dog that I can't believe I'm saying it is quicker than Poke the Bear is a massive thrill. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Good luck on Friday night. Box number 8 for Hooked on Scotch. Well, Jack, the box draw was going to be so very important, and it's proved that way. Back to you. I can't wait to see the tab fixed odds.
Oh, neither can I. Thank you, James, and well done to you, Molly. Well done to everyone involved. Let's just recap one more time the box draw and how it's all landed for the Melbourne Cup. And we talk about Darren Pulio being happy. I think everyone in Western Australia might be happy with Campini, Liz.
Oh my gosh, it's actually quite unbelievable. Campini coming up with box 1, ideal. Hooked on Scotch, box 8, ideal. I think Whiskey Riot's also drawn really well there to the inside of Flynn. Trenton, looking forward to seeing what you come up with for us.
Well, I have a fair idea that Hooked on Scotch is going to be the favourite, and all of a sudden Campini, I reckon, is going to be the second-elect, Liz, just with that advantageous box draw.
Trent, you need to go and take the abacus away and do some work, so we'll let you do that and we'll come back to you very, very shortly as well. Still plenty more to come. We'll get all of the odds for the Melbourne Cup. And Jezelenko, not too far away. I think that's right, isn't it?
Jezelenko!
Hill takes his kick, it's swinging towards centre half for the Carlton players. Come out, oh, Jezelenko!
Down onto the ground, Jezelenko in there, tackled solidly by McKenzie, still going, turns round into an open goal, he's on an angle and puts it through.
To the wing position on the member stand side, oh, Jezelenko, you beauty!
I reckon there's a few punters over the journey that have said that as well. Jesaulenko, you beauty. A famous name in footy, Alex Jesaulenko, and has become a very, very famous name as well in greyhound racing. Let's get over to Molly's Lounge.
Thank you very much, Jack. Look, as everyone can see, I've got a bit of a crowded lounge this morning. Joining me, I have Terry Morrison, who's trying to give me a kiss at the moment, is, of course, Jesaulenko. And amazingly, his son Alex. So Alex Jesaulenko, I do have to admit, it did take me a little bit in the text messages to realise the Alex Jesaulenko blonde moment for sure. Now, Terry, welcome to Molly's Lounge.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, Melbourne Cup time, you just must be so excited. A couple of years ago, this boy was on the biggest stage of all. I believe we will look at his replay soon. It was an interesting race.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
A very interesting race. Now, talk me through, Terry, as everyone can see on the screens, how you were feeling at this point. Did you think a Melbourne Cup is mine?
Well, yeah, he was looking pretty good for most of it.
Now, looking pretty good. He did turn his head in this one. That was the charge, I do believe. Talk me through that feeling after the Cup and I suppose just what was going through your mind.
Look, I look back and it was a thrill to be there. It's a privilege to make it to the biggest race in the world in greyhound racing. You know, you can't control them. When they get on the track, it's all up to them. So he did an awesome job to pick the leader up. I was happy.
Absolutely, and you did say to me before as well that you kind of think you won the Melbourne Cup but just didn't have the money.
Yeah. Like mentally, I won the Melbourne Cup. I didn't get to take the cup home. I didn't get to have the money, but yeah, I got the dog. I took him home.
Now, he did come back the next year, though, and he did take out the Cup consolation, which must have been really exciting for your team as well.
Oh, look, that was a brilliant run. You know, he does all his talking on the track, and he did that night too. It was great.
Now, talk about talking on the track. We are watching this Cup consolation, or the Cup night sprint, I should say. But what about his Traralgon Cup win? You're based in Traralgon, all your dogs live in Traralgon. How was that Traralgon win a couple of years ago?
It was brilliant. To win on your home track is something that you dream about, and to have all your friends and the town behind you, you know, it's a feeling that you'd love everyone to be part of.
Now, we've just had a little bit of an incident here. Jesaulenko has stepped in his water bowl. How does he feel about wet feet?
Oh, it doesn't matter. He's all right. He's okay.
It worries him.
No.
Now, not all greyhounds obviously head to stud, which is how we've got baby Alex here today. Talk me through the decision about sending Jesaulenko to stud.
Look, he was still racing brilliantly. And he'd had 122 starts, and I thought, no, look, it was time to stop him. And I've been a bit slow. I haven't really advertised him with stud duties, but I'm getting there. He is having litters of pups, so he's got a litter due on the 24th as well. Yeah, so, you know, it's something that to look forward to in the future of breeding in the industry, because he's got a lot to offer.
Absolutely. Now, as little Alex is giving you a kiss on the lips, I know that was a very special, or his mother's very special to you. You had Jesaulenko picked out for her from almost day dot.
Yes, I saw her advertised. It was a Brett Lee Ritzer Hattie bitch, and I thought, no, I've got to have her. Like, it was 2 years ago and Jesaulenko was still racing, but I thought, no, they're going to make some nice babies together, and this is one of them. Hopefully next year we'll come back and we'll get that cup.
Absolutely. So you reckon Alex Jesaulenko could be throwing a Melbourne Cup winner? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, he's got 3 generations of group winning dogs over the distance and with the sprint races, so there's no reason why we can't get that.
Well, thank you very much, Terry, for being here today. Thank you for bringing in a couple of your legendary dogs, and good luck with what's to come in the next few weeks, few months and few years also.
Thanks for having me. I'll be back next year to get a cup.
Oh, I see. I love a bit of... Don't we love a bit of confidence? That's what we love on this show. We've had the cup on the show all morning, and it looks very attractive, and it is a big, big cheque available for the winner. Thank you very much, Terry. To a serious note from greyhound racing across the week, and also a very, very sad note as well. We've come to meet some wonderful characters in this sport, and Michelle Neal is someone who absolutely lived and breathed greyhound racing and these beautiful athletes, James.
Yeah, look, it was terrible news that we all woke to on Monday that Michelle had passed away, and look, it was just so surreal. I guess she'd suffered a long time with cystic fibrosis, Molly, but you just never expect the day to come, and I found it as such a shock. I was actually mowing the lawn in the morning and got the news, and it just broke me. It really did, because she was just such a beautiful person, and you wouldn't have known meeting her that she had any problems. Like, she was always smiling, always happy to have a chat, and I was lucky enough to spend the day. We're racing dogs down at Geelong, and I'm probably going to get a bit emotional, but I spent the day there with her, and she was just incredible, and she didn't tip me a winner. But that was okay, and look, it's just really sad, and to her dad, Michael, and to everybody, it's just the saddest time, and condolences to the whole family.
Absolutely. Look, Michelle was the most beautiful lady I reckon I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Her enthusiasm to the dogs was just like none other, and it reminded me of why I'm in the sport and why I do what I do, because she was such a lovely girl. And Michael, you and your wife have raised an amazing human being in Michelle, and she is going to be missed, but she won't be forgotten. I guarantee there's going to be races, there'll be days. We'll make sure that Michelle will live on in all of our memories, because she was one beautiful woman.
Well said, you two, and our thoughts are with the Neal family during this very difficult time. As we head to the break, I think that is the most important reminder of family and sticking together as a family. And here is a story of Sean and Sophie Keisha, a family involved in the sport of greyhound racing.
I like to put myself in a dog's mind and make sure he's stress-free. It's not just in the race kennel, I think it's out in the paddocks, and, you know, once you can get that out of the dog, for them to feel comfortable around you, I think that makes life a lot easier. This is my first year full-time. We built the new kennels. We want to make it one of the best facilities in Australia. My little one, Sophie, is 4. She likes to be outdoors and do things out here. Basically, everything we do, Sophie does. From feeding dogs to feeding pups to working dogs. She just takes everything on as if she was my age. You know, anything we do, she wants to do it as well. She grows up with them from when the day they're born. She's got names for every single one. She names every dog. They sort of grow up with her, and she can walk in any kennel and give them a pat. There's no issues. Every single dog, you go out in the morning and there's not an unhappy dog. A bit different to humans. You can go to work and pat on the ears. Some people can be happy and some people can't. Every dog is happy to see you. And Sophie, I just think in general loves animals, and Sophie will definitely grow up and be one of the future greyhound trainers. I like to be home with my family. Every single day we all work together. The amount of work you put in and a lot of the work behind the scenes, it's every single day. You know, you're out here 18 hours a day. You can start at 6 in the morning, you get home at 12 at night from the races, and the next day's the same. They are family to us. That's why we've probably only got 2 kids. They're kids to us, more or less.
Nice to have your company this morning on the thrill of the chase. Before we finish up the show today, we've got our best bets, and trust me, our team are working away feverishly. It's becoming very competitive, this best bets segment. James is leading the way so far. We've got more of that to come before we finish up as well. But now we have Trent Langscower from the TAB who's back with us. And Trent, just before we move to the Melbourne Cup, and now that we've got the box draw, we're going to feature that very heavily, but it's worth us having a look at the market for the Bold Trease. And in particular, we spoke about a couple of the big movers to start with. Here is the Bold Trease final, over 715 metres.
Really open here, and there has been a change of favouritism since the box draw was conducted on Friday night. Boomdown actually went up to $3.30 favourite, but since then Blue Moon Rising has come in from $3.50 to $3.20. Boomdown at the $3.30 mark, Blazing Hardier at $4. Tornado Tears at the $5.50 or $6.50 mark, always popular, even though it hasn't been the best run of form. Slick Raven at $9, and then double figures or better the remainder. This is going to be an intriguing final, particularly Blue Moon Rising, who likes to get out, and Boomdown, who likes to flash late.
Yeah, it's incredible to think Tornado Tears is going to go around at $6.50, but let's take a look at Blazing Cartier. Left Bay go bye-bye standing. Slick Raven stormed home for second, but that was such a powerful win. The way he just she just accelerated away, Blazing Cartier, and once she led, it was all over. Bago Bye pushed her through the middle part of the race, but the last 100 was just so strong.
She's got a good time as well there, 41.68, so not too far off the time set by Boom Down. She's another one who, along with Blue Moon Rising, could set them up out in front. She's pretty small though. She's only about 25 kgs, this girl.
Speaking of Boom Down, Liz, while you're on a roll, let's have a look at Boom Down's run coming out of heat number 4 at Sandown, and a good time as well.
Jack, you asked me in the ad break how many favourite dogs I've got at the moment. Boom Down is right up there. I love this greyhound. He reminds me a little bit of Swift Fantasy, who's one of my favourite greyhounds back in New Zealand. He gets a long way back. He will be storming home. Box 1 doesn't worry me. I don't think it matters too much where he draws. Trent, I think he was about $6 last week before the heat. So.
He was, and once again, it just shows how open this is going to be. That Tornado Tears, who you almost fell off the chair a few weeks ago, you and James, when running around the TAB Top Gun stays, and all of a sudden is going to be around the 650 mark for a bowl trees.
Also, the Group 3 Brian Johnston Memorial as well, which is being run at Angle Park. It's worth us taking a look at this one, Trent, while we've got you.
We've got Butros Fossey out of box 8, who is the favourite at $3. Kisses for Chloe at $3.80, along with Corbett, and they were actually the 3 winners of the semi-finals last Thursday night at Angle Park. And Miss Bellawood from box 7 not far behind at $4.80, the feature there at Angle Park on Thursday night.
I'm actually pretty keen on Miss Bellawood. $4.80 seems like quite good value. James, I would have thought that Kisses for Chloe would be your go, bit of an omen bet.
The beautiful wife at home, I'd have to be cheering for Kisses for Chloe, which I'm always doing, always giving, but I think Miss Bellawood will be very hard to beat as well.
That is called ticking the box. That's very well played by you.
Yes.
Now that you're back from Box Draw HQ, and now that we do have all of our numbers drawn out for the Melbourne Cup, Trent, you've gone away, you've had a little bit of a look at the markets. Have we noticed any major changes? I guess that's the big question.
Well, a bit of a surprise has actually been an ease for Hooked on Scotch, who has drawn favourably, but there's actually $1.90 now for the TAB Melbourne Cup on Friday night. Get a Gizmo out of box 2 and Whiskey Ride out of box 3. They're both at $6. If you go past Shimmer Shine, the first reserve Campini out of 1. Actually surprised the $8 is there as well, and Flynn out of box 4 at the $8 mark. There was no doubt that Hooked on Scotch was going to be the favourite, particularly after what we saw on Friday night. But honestly, I'm actually a bit surprised that $1.90 is now on offer for the favourite for the TAB Melbourne Cup.
My golly goodness. I cannot believe Campini is at $8. Was it $8.50?
That's what I can't believe either.
I cannot believe. I said off air, and Liz almost agreed, I think. I thought Hooked on Scotch might firm to $1.70, and I thought Campini clearly the market move. Tab clearly weren't watching the analyser. Get It Gizmo's drawn box number 2.
Not everyone watches the analyser.
Unfortunately. Get It Gizmo pushed up the track so hard from box number 2 that Campini was mad for the inside. If the analyser works, Campini is an enormous each-way player in the Melbourne Cup.
There might be some very small and some possibly larger investments made in Campini as well. James, good luck to you as well. You're calling the Melbourne Cup, which I know is huge on your bucket list.
Yeah, can't wait to, mate. It's just been a dream come true to be a part of the Melbourne Cup, and to think that I'm going to be calling the greatest greyhound race in the world. It's just an unbelievable honour, and I can't wait to get out there on Friday night.
No pressure, you lot, but best bets are up next. That's how we're going to finish up the thrill on the chase. You are with the thrill of the chase, and before we leave you today, we always give you some best bets that you can take away, have a little investment on yourself, and I did mention how competitive this is all becoming. So, James, you are up first, my
man.
And
after a very, very minute profit last week, I'm ready to bounce back for another minute profit. I'm going race 2, number 2 at Sandown Park today. Aston Dynamo, not just for today, but one to follow for the future. I think it's going to be a really, really bright greyhound, and they say great minds think alike, and Trent's on the same course here.
What? Trent?
Yes, that is correct, Jack. I'm going with race 2, number 2, Aston Dynamo. I checked around the $1.60 mark, and hopefully James and I are correct with today's tip at Sandown Park.
Liz, you better not have gone the same.
No, I wasn't part of this collaboration over here. Look, I'm going with Angle Park on Thursday night in the Group 3 Brian Johnston Memorial. I think that Miss Bellawood's going to be very tough to beat off box 7. $4.80, I think not a bad price there either.
Nice to have a little bit of difference. Molly's still there in Molly's Lounge. Moll, what have you got for us for this week, please?
Look, I've gone to Cannington on Monday, race 4, box 5. She's Stardust. Look, I think it's going to be a second start over the 500, and I think she'll get there.
Well, that is how it all lands. Don't forget, of course, the Sandown venue will be the host for the Melbourne Cup, Friday the 29th, a big, big night. There is the Melbourne Cup. It is looking shiny. It is looking impressive. Gang, thank you to all of you. Thanks for being here. I want to touch the Melbourne Cup, so now I've got my hands on the Melbourne Cup, and this time next week, when we come back, we will crown ourselves a winner.